especially to Fergal. He had always been an active, hard-working man, but from then on he would have to be tended like a baby. With every month that passed, he had been forced to watch his useless legs wither away, and it broke his heart to see his beloved Dilly and the children struggling to survive. Their other 4 children were upstairs, fast asleep in their beds, unaware of the birth that had taken place only hours before. Dilly considered that to be a blessing, although the women in the courts, like her, were brave during childbirth and rarely made a sound, intent on not distressing the rest of their brood. Dilly's 4 would be told that the new baby had died before it drew birth, and it was doubtful that they would question it. Many babies thereabouts never saw their first birthdays, but Fergal and Dilly were proud that their brood had survived, hale and hearty. Each child had been wanted and was loved, but the same could not be said for this one. From the moment she had realized she was with child again, Dilly had dreaded its coming. How would she manage with yet another mouth to feed? As her pregnancy had progressed, she had been able to take in less washing and ironing, and many a night they had all gone to bed with grumbling stomachs. Then, like the answer to a prayer, she had been offered a solution and had known she must seize it. Things had become so desperate that she could see no alternative but to put the children into the orphanage until she could earn enough money to feed them and pay the rent. Now, not only would she have enough money to send them to Ireland to their grandparents, but also a job that would enable her to earn more in a week than she could in a whole month, taking in laundry. What choice did she have? With one last glance at her husband, she picked up the baby and went to the door, before her resolve wavered. The promise had been easy to make while the babe had been growing inside her, but now it was here. It was much more difficult to keep. The only other person who was aware that she had given birth was Nell Cotteridge, her trusted neighbour, who had helped the child into the world. But Dilly knew that her secret would be safe with her. She would have trusted Nell with her life. "Let me take just one more peek at the little mite, afore you go," Fergal begged. She shook her head. "Best not make things any worse than they already are." She let herself out into the bitingly cold air of the backyard, closing the door firmly behind her. Fergal's muffled sobs came to her through it, but she squared her shoulders and walked into the long, narrow entry. As she passed Madge Bunting's cottage, she thought she saw the rags that passed for curtains twitch, and prayed she was wrong. The last thing she needed was for Madge to find out what she was about to do. The woman had a mouth on her like a parish oven, and ever since Dilly had been given the job for which Madge had also applied, Madge had resented Dilly. But there was no time to worry about that. The sooner this was done, the better. Out on the street, she turned towards her destination, the baby tucked tightly against her. It was making little mewing noises and sucking its tiny fist. She felt as if her heart was breaking, but her steps never faltered, even though she was still sore and light-headed from giving birth just hours before. The future of all her children depended on what she was about to do, and for their sake, there could be no turning back. The gas lamps she passed flickered eerily and cast shadows across the pavements and on the walls of the terrace cottages in St. Mary's Road. But the streets were deserted, as she had prayed they would be. Eventually, she paused at the gates of a large house in the better part of town. Gently, she twitched aside the shawl that covered the babe's face and kissed its soft cheek tenderly. "I shall never forget you, and I shall love you for as long as there's breath in my body," she promised brokenly.